Whoa!
Hello.
Whoa! Are we in the right place, Statto? Are we in the right place?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Right. Yeah. That was fun.
It was.
Yeah. We were in the wrong room there, guys. We started the wrong stream.
It's true.
Well, I say we. It was me.
We certainly did, Dave.
I did it, but you didn't miss anything.
Nah. It's a perfectly good opening.
It was.
There were
I try to
explosions.
remember. Let's recap what we did. Let's see.
We talked.
Realized
we made a mistake.
Reminisced. Didn't really start on anything. We did realise that there's a good chance something would go wrong tonight, not realising that something had already gone wrong and that we were in the wrong stream. So, yeah. Other than that, you missed nothing. So,
Nothing.
Hey, Dave. Hope you're still here. Hey, Pete. You were. Right. Yeah, I was wondering why Facebook wasn't hassling me to get started. I'm going to before we get started. I'm just going to quickly dive into. We'll get 4 views on the stream that we just started. That's pretty good, to be honest. But I'm going to go and manage my. I'm going to go and. Yeah, I have to get rid of that. Yeah, but here we go. Anyway, yes, so that was the disastrous start to the evening that you all missed, although 4 people are now watching it. So there you go.
Hello.
Hey. Yes, we have restarted. Oh, dear. You know how this happens? Do you know, Dave? You know how when you minimise StreamYards, so it's small on your screen and you don't see the whole name of the stream? And I just saw the 8 p.m. and went the one at the top. That's it. But the one at the top wasn't it? I know.
He can't wait for that dread. I think it's subconscious.
I know, and I've just finished watching The Last Blood. I've watched 4 Rambo movies.
Yeah.
It's probably the testosterone that's like racing through my body.
Which one did you skip?
3.
You skipped 3. Okay.
I skipped 3.
That was the one that I watched to refresh myself.
Right. See, I skipped 3 because I'd seen it fairly recently.
Okay.
And I think I mentioned this on the last stream. It's pretty much 2 on steroids as far as I'm concerned. So it's quite fresh in my memory, and I did a wee bit of reading up on it as well. Yeah.
Sure.
Something out of 2001 or The Matrix. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely us with 2001. I'm sorry. All right, Hal, close the stream. I cannot close the stream. I'm sorry. Hey, close it. No, you'll never leave.
Yeah. I was thinking we're Ghostbusters as we were crossing the streams.
Never crossed the streams. Sorry
about that. Seen the trailer for the new Ghostbusters? What do you think?
I have, and I'm not gonna think anything at this point, because how many times have I said, "Oh wow, that trailer looks great," and went to the movie and went, "Yeah."
Oh, I know. It happens all the time. I'm the same. I looked at it and I went, "Oh, I'm liking what I'm seeing," but
the trailer looks good. But at the end of the day, it's still Sony. That's I think it's Sony that's putting it on. So I mean, they okayed all the the last one that people didn't like. They okayed all of that stuff.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Whether they're going in a different direction or just putting a Stranger Things repackage on it to capitalize on that, which it's a touch late until the next season comes out and hopefully possibly reinvigorates it a little. I feel like its time has passed a little.
Yeah, exactly.
The gimmick, the 80s. It's the 80s gimmick, because now everybody's doing it's the 80s. So
yeah, everybody's doing it. It's so weird tonight.
A little bit. But
Dave, don't set the bar that low, because it's Hollywood and they can in fact go lower. If you...
I know. Here's what I think. I don't think it's going to be as badly received as the 2016, but I think that the hype is going to be so high that it won't meet that expectation. That's what I'm thinking. I think it'll be like it's not bad versus like.
I'm just hoping it's clever, and it kind of balances the humor with the kind of like the spookiness.
I think this will be a have more care put into it, because I feel like this is for Harold Ramis. I think this is a goodbye to him. Sorry this took so long situation.
It's his son that directed it, isn't it?
No, it's Ivan Reitman's son, the director.
Oh, Ivan Reitman's son, of course.
But Harold Ramis, he was a writer, and he and Dan Aykroyd had been trying so dang long to get the third one made, and Bill Murray's dragging his feet. Didn't want to do it. So I think they made up on his deathbed because they were fighting because of Groundhog's Day. Ramis and Bill Murray, and so I think this is just kind of a apology and a goodbye. I think it'll have more care put into it and a lot of fan service. Expect that. That's what I think. Whole lot of fans. Even in that trailer, there was like Gozer, there was the Stay Puft, there was, so I think.
Yeah, I stopped it before the end. I saw the Stay Puft and then I stopped it because I figured they show too much in trailers now, so I tend not to stick.
This one didn't show a ton, which was really nice, but to me it just said like, look, expect a whole lot of nods to the first two movies and very probably some cartoony, some stuff from the cartoons.
Right.
I think they're going to run away from the other one as far as they can.
Yep.
So.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't run further away from that. I've never seen the whole thing all the way through, though. I couldn't do it.
I'll say it didn't look terrible. The effects weren't. The opening looked pretty good. It was the humor that, that's a high bar.
When you're 20 minutes to half an hour in and there's been no kind of scary bits and no funny bits, that's time to give up.
It's a very high bar to. I mean, even the second one didn't make that expectation.
No, it didn't. The second one was like a carbon copy, so it wasn't.
It aged all right, but it didn't. No. When it came out, people were like, "It's not the same."
Nah, it's not. But when it comes to sequels,
dun.
If I get kicked out of my own stream tonight, and you know what, I think there's a good chance that's going to happen after the way it started.
Oh boy.
I do believe Statto has got the music lined up, so he's going to sing one of the Rambo songs.
I can remember any of them.
Yeah, one of the many great songs. We talked about GoldenEye the other week there, and I said I had a really terrible 80s song at the end of it.
Oh yeah.
It pales into insignificance compared to the Rambo movies.
Oh man, I heard like 5 seconds of the one from number 3, and I was just like, nah, this doesn't fit. This doesn't fit at all.
I didn't watch number 3, but that is my favourite and my funniest because it's he ain't heavy, he's my brother.
Right.
It's just so funny. The second, oh god, it's awful. The song in the second film is terrible. At least the song in the first film goes with the theme,
Can we get a from
you kind of, but you've got that brilliant Jerry Goldsmith music. Just play the music. It was a curse of the 80s where you had to have a song at the end titles of every movie. I call it the breakfast curse because it was like the Breakfast Club kind of ending. Every movie had to have it.
As I was watching the third one, the line, like, "Who are you? I'm your worst nightmare." Was that in all of them, or was that in just the third one? I can't remember if that was like a tagline.
No, that's just in the third one.
Yeah, because but that's the thing that people like attribute to Rambo now. I'm your worst nightmare.
Don't know what Cap's going on over here. Can we get a roar from Statto?
Oh yeah, I did that already.
Yep, I'm way behind you. If you're on YouTube, you're seeing it a lot quicker than I'm seeing the chat coming up.
Oh no, I'm at StreamYard right now.
Why are you seeing it before me?
Because you got a potato computer.
I've got a potato. I've got a maxed out Mac.
Oh.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I think we've covered the music. We've covered the music for. The music's good in all the movies. The songs are terrible, and the music is generally based around Jerry Goldsmith's theme, which is terrific. I think we'll all agree. Right. Okay. Let's start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to begin.
Is it?
It is First Blood, okay. Original British quad poster. Must have been when they changed over to 15 because it's got the double A in brackets there because we had a rating called a double A, and you had to be over 14 years of age or accompanied by an adult to get in.
Was AAA for kids because the batteries are smaller?
Yeah, you use those for your toys. Yep. So the First Blood. I'll ask you, because we always start this way. What was the first one you saw?
First one I saw would have been the second one, and it was on like a 6 or 7 inch portable TV that was in the back of like a. We were camping, and it was in the back of a truck. My dad had a little TV, and we'd all just sit there and watch Rambo 2.
Best way to watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw them in order.
Okay.
I saw the first one on a pirate video from a video store. It was one of these ones it was not yet out on video, but you could rent it.
Oh yeah.
And it was a good copy. And I saw the First Blood was the first one that I saw in the cinema. I believe the only one I saw in the cinema. The First Blood Part II was the only one I saw in the cinema.
Right. You just never went back after that, huh?
I never went to see 3, and the other ones I never saw in the cinema. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't know why I never went to see 3 in the cinema, but I do know why. It was cut to ribbons by the British censor.
Oh wow! Okay.
And I thought, now I'll just hold off and get a good pirate copy somewhere and get a look at that. Yeah, it was one of the most censored movies. We'll get to that when we cover it.
Sure.
But yeah, so I've seen them all in sequence, as it were.
Okay. So you got to see the weird, like, how it evolved.
Yeah, exactly.
Because this is nothing like the final product. This first one.
Well, you're going from Rambo First Blood Part II. Well, let's talk about the titles because they're really confusing. There's First Blood, then there's Rambo First Blood Part II, then there's Rambo III, and then there's Rambo.
Or John Rambo, where you guys are, right?
Or John Rambo.
Yep.
Yeah, it was called. I think it was just called Rambo as well here. We
okay, because I could have sworn I saw like a UK poster is like John Rambo.
Oh right, well maybe they did. Yeah, it's on the DVD. It's just the Blu-ray I've got. It's just Rambo though. Yeah, and then we've got Rambo Last Blood.
Yep.
So, and I think if you go to some countries around the world, they're even more different with the titles.
I wonder if he does one more, if it'll be called Last Blood Part II.
It's just called it. That's it. I'd go for that one. Yeah. The good old Thorn EMI video. Yep, I rented that as well once it was out legitimately. Yeah, I rented that. Be honest with you though, Pete, the pirate one was better because it was in widescreen. It wasn't pan and scan. So
pan and scan. For shame.
There's Dave didn't see First Blood in the cinema. It came out 10 years before he was.
That's no excuse.
I know. What kind of excuse is that? Time travel, man. It's all about the time travel. Time Cop. Remember, just Time Cop. It's all about Time Cop. Last Blood again. I like that.
Or Rambo Last Drop.
Last drop of blood. Yep. But okay, so you saw Rambo and then you saw First Blood. So that would be quite a change. See First Blood after Rambo because it's almost like a different character.
I think back when I was little, it was the second one, and then the third one, would have been the one after a bit that would have like been on TV a lot.
Yeah,
because it wasn't all that. I mean, it was successful. I think it was the most successful out of the 3 because they had so much merchandise with it. They had like Sega games, NES games, stuff like that. All had the Rambo 3 stuff on it. But that was the one that was marketed the most. Then I saw the first one, then the fourth one, then the fifth one. So it is really jumbled up. But I had watched them recently in sequence for the most part.
Right. Yeah, that's weird then. So you actually came to First Blood after seeing 3.
Yeah.
So was that a bit of a culture shock to see the more stripped back movie?
No, I liked it better.
You did? Cool.
It was because I mean the other 2. I'll be honest, not to spoil it for the later on, but I would absolutely take 4 and 5 versus 2 and 3 myself.
Right.
I just think they balance that realism versus like carnage, horror of war, and Stallone's acting game was heightened significantly for those movies versus the first 2 with like, he gets shot in the leg and then he just gets up and does a roll, puts all his weight on it, and then maybe limps a little and like, oh dang, ow.
I think, I know what you're saying here. I'll keep people thinking, wondering, because anybody who saw our show when we did our best ofs for last year and worst ofs knows that I wasn't a huge fan of the last one, but I watched it only a couple of years ago, so I might have changed my mind a wee bit. But with for First Blood, I had a school friend, who I met him after seeing First Blood Part II, Rambo in the cinema, and he was one of the biggest First Blood fans out there, and he was disgusted by the sequel.
Oh yeah,
what it done to the character.
Such a difference.
Yeah, but when I saw it, it was it might have been the lager that helped. But when I saw it in the cinema, I had a really good time with it because it was fun. It's just a fun, dumb action movie. Is how I looked at the sequel. Rambo First Blood Part II.
Sure.
But I was well aware of the fact that any kind of nuance you had with the character and his set in the real world had completely disappeared.
Oh, he was an action legend now.
Yeah, he was just an action legend, and it was good action. But the first one, he doesn't even kill anybody. It's like he's trying to. I don't know if you need to recap the stories for everybody. They've probably seen them, but he's essentially he's the victim of the piece, and he's just trying
flashback.
Yeah, he's just trying to escape from like these redneck sort of like sheriffs and everybody who are like chasing him. The only death is an accidental one, and it's a guy who's so horrible you're quite happy to see him die.
Yeah. Right.
Falls out the helicopter. And it does have, as Pete's pointing out here, it's got a feel of a 70s movie.
Especially the opening.
It's coming out in 82. It has the terrible kind of like 80s song at the end, but it's got that feel of a 70s action movie.
Still got a lot of desaturated colors and earth tones in it. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels more real. It feels like a real film.
Yeah, I like the first one a lot. As a matter of fact, I would probably take 2 and 3 and put them over on the side by themselves. So it just makes sense for him to, like they come to him and say, "Hey, we need your help," and then he goes and does it. And then if you look at 1, 4, and 5, he's like that guy that he's been through a lot of crap. He just wants to be left alone, but he gets put in these terrible situations. Yeah,
it's kind of like Pete was saying the other way. The second one is an experience in the cinema. And it's got Jack Cardiff to do photography. It looks great. The second one just looks fantastic, and it sounds great as well. So that kind of thing.
It did give me the biggest laugh in the entire series, though. We'll get to that when we get there.
Right. Well, there's not many laughs in the first one, although
this was unintentional.
Depending on your frame of mind, his monologue at the end can be a bit much. I think
he has a speech in every one of those movies, though.
Yeah, I know. He was supposed to die at the end.
Yeah, they have that deleted scene.
Yeah, and according to Stallone, the character as originally envisioned was meant to be far more violent and killing people.
Oh yeah,
and it was his idea to like have him not kill people and make him the victim and more sympathetic. So
he fought for that.
Yeah, kudos there. He was right with that, and it's one of those films that had a bit of a troubled production as well. I think the first cut, when everybody saw the first cut, there was a case of like, this is never going to work. One of those kind of things.
I think he hurt himself too, doing part of that tree stuff.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Broke a rib or something like that, or a couple of them.
Yep, not quite Jackie Chan, but
no,
bad enough. It's got a great cast though as well.
Brian Dennehy.
Yeah, Frank Dennehy's brilliant. Frank Dennehy in anything is worth watching.
I don't know about FX, but
I love FX. It's great. Yeah. Even the sequel. I love the sequel. And the robot client. Oh man, yeah, we need to do a show on FX.
Reminds me of Runaway.
Yeah, I mean, we could do a Brian Dennehy special. We could get bestseller in there as well. Why not? That was another good one. But yeah, it was Brian Dennehy, Richard Crenna. Originally meant to be Kirk Douglas, I believe.
Right. It was supposed to be Kirk Douglas.
Yeah, and he was like, you got to die. He's got to die at the end of this, and he wouldn't do it unless Rambo died at the end, seemingly, whether that's true or not.
I've got to give extra props to Richard Crenna for his when he did Hot Shots Part II. He played the same character, and it's like just out of arm's reach, so he like leans out of the jail because it's big enough for him to fit through to grab the keys. And he unlocks himself and gets out.
Yeah, Hot Shots Part 2 is one of these ones that just gets. It's actually a sequel that's better than the original, because the original Hot Shots wasn't that great. But all the Rambo stuff in that is really good, really well done.
And Sheen got big for that. Holy cow!
Yeah, he did. It looked like I first saw the trailer for that in the cinema. I thought, is he wearing one of these like rubber suits to make him look old? But no, he was bulked up.
It was still on his cocaine time. So
yeah, totally.
Just do some cocaine and lift a ton of weights for like 2 hours without getting tired.
Is that why they had all the M&Ms and they use them for the scene in it? Probably the munchies and stuff.
I don't know.
I don't know. We've got Rambo in First Blood. Then he's a sympathetic character. He's returned from the Vietnam War. Everybody's like it's this kind of like cynical sort of like the soldiers are looked down on and all that kind of stuff, and he can't be reintegrated back into society. And so there's depth there. There's definitely stuff there that kind of makes it more than just an action movie.
Right. It's more of it's a lot like how Rocky was a drama wrapped in a boxing movie. This is a drama wrapped in a little bit of a war movie, or a post-war movie rather.
I think so. Yeah, it's almost like he inadvertently was handed this second character to take on, after he created Rocky.
I always thought of Rambo as like the anti-Rocky. I mean, like, or the other side of the coin. Like, they both kind of triumph at the end, but where everything works out for Rocky, his brother's Rambo, nothing really works out for him. But they both come through. Yeah, very similar in the way they attack situations.
Yeah, and as the films go on, it's different as well. When Rocky kind of grows. And the situation, even when it gets worse, it gets better as the film's going. His situation gets better.
He's got hope and determination, and Rambo's just got determination.
Yeah, Rambo's just like Rambo. It's just a hell. It's waiting for him at the end of the day. It's a sense of every movie. There's just going to be a hell at the end of it.
So I think they complement each other really well as far as franchises go.
They do, and it's weird as well because you don't think that they would appeal to the same kind of people in the mass market,
right?
But
kind of like separated at birth, and one went one direction, the other one went the other, and
yeah, exactly. I don't know if they did either, mind you. When I think about it, probably because First Blood Part 2, Rambo was a huge success, so I suppose they did. But yeah, First Blood. So there he is. I mean, come on, guys. We can kind of see the difference already. I know that's a patent, but
it's true, Anya. Yeah, he got cut for the second one.
Yeah, bandanas, rocket launchers. This is again. I don't know if he practically directed this or not, because I know it's meant to be George Cosmatos, isn't it? Is that how you say his name?
He might have had quite a few notes, but he only officially directed the fourth one.
Yeah, I think he had a good hand in 2 and 3. But
because he wrote them all, he co-wrote them all.
Yeah, because is that? Well, maybe I'm basing this on the fact that George Cosmatos, he made Tombstone, and unofficially Kurt Russell did most of the direction on that.
It's just the director that babysits the cast.
Yeah, I was just wondering, but no, he's made good movies. He has made good movies as well. Other than that, but I just thought to myself, I wonder if this is where it started. We realised that, just like the actors, they know what they want.
Well, I guess it worked out for him before.
Just thinking out loud here, But yeah, this film again is okay. It's kind of like the Bond franchise. But instead of changing the actor, they just change the kind of character. But they keep the actor and they keep all the kind of tropes. A
little bit.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. So this is like your big uber sort of action movie from the 80s. And even the supporting cast, it's like the way they choose the supporting cast is almost like that's it's like a cast for like a 1970s TV show compared to a 1980s TV show. That's the difference. So we get people like Martin Cove from The Karate Kid and, appearing in this, and they look dead 80s. and they don't look realistic as mercenaries. They're realistic as soldiers.
Had Charles Napier, didn't it?
Well, it also has Charles Napier.
Yep.
So you see Charles Napier, and you go, I mean, first time I remember the first time he made an impression on me was the work he did with Russ Meyer. That's a whole different show. We'll not cover that tonight. So
everybody knows Charles Napier. He's always the douchebag country guy.
Yeah, and he's really good at that. So he's playing to his type here. And so in that respect, it's almost a little bit Chuck Jones. It's a little bit Looney Tunes already with the casting.
Right.
And Richard Crenna kind of stands out when he's with these people because it's almost as if you've been plucked from the first movie and he's wandering about aimlessly, wondering what he's doing, surrounded by this cartoon. But it works. It works. What was the moment in this then that was the funny moment for you?
Oh man, there's the scene where he's with the girl and she's like, "Could you take me to America with you? And we'll have a good life." And he's like, "Yeah, I'll take you." And then she gets up and stands up and then bang, shot right there. No. That's
pretty funny.
It's a sweet dramatic moment, and then she just gets up and shot. And
she would have been fine if she hadn't asked to go to America.
I couldn't help but laugh. I wasn't supposed to be funny. It was just the terrible timing of it. Like this, like how it's like, oh, we're gonna, like those war movies where you're holding your friend and they've just been shot and you're all like, we're gonna get you better. Oh man, I'd like to have a farm. Yeah, I'd like to have a farm with a dog. Yeah, we're gonna get you that farm, buddy. And then he just dies right there. It's like, no.
Yep. For me, the first scene where I started laughing in the cinema was where you get the close up of his biceps and he's sharpening his knife. Right. And I thought that was funny. And I thought, oh, this is funny. But this is going to be a fun film, this, because I thought it's self-aware. I don't know if it was self-aware, but I think, that the whole kind of like macho kind of thing. And then the scene where he jumps out and he gets caught and he starts slamming against the side of the plane.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was hysterical when I saw it in the cinema. I'll be honest, nobody else did apart from my mate that was with me watching it at the time.
Well, no.
Because there was a lot of the stuff that was meant to be hugely dramatic I found quite funny.
Well, the other part wouldn't have been so funny if they would have given it a little time to breathe, if they would have given a few scenes between them, having them build a little more of a bond. But the fact they're like, yeah, we'll go. And then she just stands up and gets shot. It's like, no.
And then they bring in Steven Berkoff as the evil Russian.
Right.
And to me, again, that said, this is you're supposed to be having a good time and you're supposed to be laughing with this movie because he's always over the top and it's good value because the same in Octopussy where he played practically the same character, only dialed up to 11. And so I'm not sure if it was meant to be funny or they knew people would laugh at some of these things, but
well, no, I think it's a 2020 situation where we look back and we see all of the stereotypes. It's like I'm not sure what it must have felt like, but watching The Godfather, when they bring that flak jacket with a fish in it, and they're all just like, "What does this mean?" It means he sleeps with the fishes. Might have been a serious scene back then. I laughed my butt off when I saw that. It's how ridiculous it was. Cliche now, but not then.
Yeah. I think these ones. I think they do. I think it's fine to laugh at them because it can go either way, and I think they know that when they're making it.
These are kind of the start of the roller coaster action movies too, where it was like, how big can we make these explosions? How many cars can we destroy?
Yeah, and James Cameron was involved in the writing of this one.
Oh yeah, you can tell that.
Yeah, but
this is pre-Avatar Cameron though.
Yeah, he believes it'd be a much better movie if he'd made it though, less jingoistic and whatever. Although I think the politics of it are quite interesting.
He was building body counts like they were high scores back then.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I never played the video game for this. There was a video game, wasn't
there? There was an NES game which was based on the second one here, this one, and then there was I think a Sega Genesis game that was based on the third one.
Cool.
Yeah, this NES one was like it was like a Zelda 2 clone. So
Dave's saying they missed a massive opportunity not having JCVD as a main villain in a Rambo movie.
Yeah, about this time they could have paid him in coke, but I don't think his ego would have allowed it.
Although his the demon, as he points out. He was great in Expendables.
So good in Expendables.
So good indeed.
One of my favorite Van Damme roles.
Yeah, I think James Cameron wrote it and then Stallone took it and did his usual rewrite.
Yeah, they've got a co-writing credit.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So,
but they
first draft, second draft.
Together. Yeah. Funny, Dave mentions Van Damme because there are connections in these movies coming up in a wee second. I like this film. I think it's one I can go back and watch over and over again. So today I knew I was going to have to miss one out, and I thought, well, I miss it Rambo because I've seen it that many times, you know. And I thought, no, I actually kind of enjoy this film. It's like it's so over the top, it's so cartoony that it just kind of works. And
I think my problem with it is just they move too fast on stuff. You have these really dramatic moments, and they just like, okay, let's move to the next scene. You know, like the fourth one and the fifth one, they had a few seconds for him to breathe and think about how terrible things were. Yeah, and you got to sit there with him, like, you know, like a friend that just had a family member that died, and you're sitting with them while they feel bad.
The only quiet moment is at the beginning where Richard Crenna's talking to him through the kind of the fence, and that asking him to come on this mission, and he's like, "This time do we get to win?"
Yeah,
you know, and that's funny. Actually, that's the first funny part in the movie. I forgot that is actually funny.
That should have been the tagline for the movie. This time we get to win.
So as soon as you realise that's the movie, it doesn't bother me that there's no real kind of character development or anything else. It's just about.
Oh, I just thought it was like I don't know if you'd say ham-fisted in the execution, because there were scenes in here that like could have had an impact, but they really didn't, because as soon as there's an emotional thing, it's severed really fast by like something else that's happening over there, kind of thing.
He blows that guy up with an explosive arrow. That's good enough for me.
That was the finale.
That was good enough for me. No, that's the helicopter. Yeah, no, it gets to poor old Martin Cove. He gets beaten up at the end of all the movies. Who the Karate Kid, Pat Morita gives him a good doing, and then he gets a good wallop off a Stallone at the end of this movie as well.
No, it's a fun movie, and for people that like the stereotypical 80s action movies, like the stuff that the last action hero was lampooning. Yeah, this is a good one for. Yeah. But in terms of what Rambo has become and what he was in the first place,
that's a good point, though, because you're saying there that this is perfect for the kind of movie that the Last Action Hero was lampooning. That was the problem with the Last Action Hero, was this film was lampooning itself, even if it didn't know it at the time.
Last Action Hero was way ahead of its time, too.
Yeah. So if I was to put together like a top 5 80s action movies, this would be one of them.
Okay.
Above any of the other Rambos, because this is more kind of like what 80s action movies were like, and to me they had less depth than 70s action movies. So
this is what made, I think, Schwarzenegger do Commando.
Yeah, another good one. Yeah, but yeah, I did mention Van Damme connection. So Rambo 3.
Cool poster though.
Terrific poster. I've forgotten the name of the artist. He's a really good artist who did all these posters. But this was co-written by Sheldon Lettich, who wrote AWOL or Lionheart and a number of other movies that Van Damme made, especially in his early days. He was one of the writers on this. So, okay, this is my least favorite Rambo movie.
Yeah, it's the Rambo. It's the Rocky V. I think most people consider.
Yeah, it's got stuff in it that you, on its own, you quite like, but there's other stuff that's just it's trying too hard to be an epic, and I think he was at his most narcissistic at this point. It was all about him, Stallone,
Probably
you know. Yeah,
this is before he had a fall down in his career, because he had a couple of them before he reinvented himself.
Yeah, and it just didn't really work for me. I mean, originally it was meant to. It's got a great opening. I like the opening. I like the stick fighting, and there's definitely bits in it that are good. And I laugh every time.
That kind of made me laugh a little bit, like how dramatic they were putting on his gloves, like.
Yeah, I know.
And you know, like you'd have to have him tightening his thing, and it was very like get ready for action.
Yeah, it's there is lots to enjoy here, but it's a bit like again, as a Bond analogy, it's a wee bit more of a View to a Kill than The Spy Who Loved Me.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's there, but it's just not all holding together the way that it should do.
This is where Rocky and Rambo crossed this opening.
Yeah, it doesn't have a particularly memorable villain either. The guy's okay, but he's no Steven Berkoff, so he comes in for the one
kind
scene
of a generic
Yeah.
Russian bad guy with stereotypical accent.
Yeah, it doesn't, and all the Russians are just big burly guys.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be directed by Russell Mulcahy off of the success of Highlander, and that's the Rambo film I want to see. It was Peter McDonald that ended up directing it. Another connection with Sheldon Lettich and Jean-Claude Van Damme, because he made Legionnaire, one of the Van Damme movies. And it's okay.
Perfectly forgettable.
Yeah, he's a competent. What he is a really good second unit director. It makes a competent director, so he's good at all the action stuff. But yeah, there's not much to say about this other than Russell Mulcahy gets sacked. Peter McDonald got put in the director's chair, and the final movie was not as good as the first two.
I did get a big laugh when he's sitting there floating in that big gunship going, "Come on out, I don't want to kill you. Just to take you away. It's okay, come on out."
Yeah.
Throw your weapons down.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what the best bits are. I mean, it's like, I think the stick fight is my favourite bit.
There are a few
start.
Parts. Gosh, I'm trying to think. I mean, there was a lot of, in this one I noticed a lot more of like he got really injured and it of course didn't affect him at all.
Yeah.
Had that, he, like I said, he got shot in the leg and then he just gets up and like does a roll and puts all his weight on his leg, no problem. And Stallone hadn't quite gotten to that, try to make things realistic yet.
Yeah. The problem I had was the movie should, because it's him going off to rescue his pal Richard Crenna, the movie should have been him rescuing him about halfway at the halfway point, and they should have been together getting out, and they should have made something with the two characters together because they're not enough scenes together. They could have made a better movie about those two characters, about their friendship, because I think that's what was at the back of it, but it never actually manifested itself that way on screen. Yeah,
this would have been a lousy ending.
Yeah,
overall, just like
apart
for
the song.
Oh yeah,
Demon
Vizarek asks, "Who would you cast for a Rambo remake?"
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't think you should remake them.
I think
it's kind of like Rocky. I don't think you could.
Totally unknown.
Yeah, I think if you're going to do that, it would have to be a totally unknown. I would probably go with. I don't know. He's supposed to be partly Native American, isn't he?
Aren't you going to say The Rock?
So, no.
Wes Studi.
Yeah, I would go back. See if you could get somebody like a young Wes Studi, that'd be perfect. Somebody it has to be somebody that looks dangerous when they don't do anything. But yeah, I don't think I can. Let's be honest here. There's no young people in Hollywood right now that could play any of these kind of roles. I don't think.
Well, I mean, they could get in shape and be in the movie. I'd like to see a Scott Eastwood Dirty Harry remake. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to see Scott Eastwood get his own character or something to play.
Yeah,
but it's like that's an interesting one.
He's still
there's an interesting one. There you go.
He's still paying his dues.
Frank Grillo. Yeah, I can see that. But I don't think any of them would be Rambo. I think Rambo comes from.
They did do a remake. It was in India, I believe.
Right, you wouldn't get this one, Statto.
No,
you need to Google Pat Sharp.
Yeah,
You just need to dye his hair, wouldn't you? Tom Hardy, yeah. I think Tom Hardy's about the only guy that looks dangerous enough to play anybody. Yeah. He's also not a pretty boy. It's like there's just so many actors are just pretty boys now.
I'm sure Charlie London would go Tom Hardy too.
Oh yeah, Tom. Yeah, you should probably have that. What's his name? Loki playing.
Tom Hiddleston as
Tom
Rambo.
Hiddleston as Rambo. You know what? I would actually watch that.
Like a Saturday Night Live sketch.
Yeah. I didn't think he could play Bond. People said he could play Bond. Then I saw the night. Was it the Night Porter? That TV show that he did. He was really good in it. And I saw him as Bond. I thought he could actually do that. He could pull that off.
No, I think he probably could. Well, I mean, I'm not sure what the barrier of entry is now, but I think he'd probably do a decent job.
Jake Gyllenhaal. I forgot about him. But yeah, forgot about him. That says it really.
Yeah. Starting to get a little older.
Yeah.
They're going to want him to, because Stallone wasn't super old when he first played Rambo.
No. The problem is it's so tied to him being a veteran of a war that was lost and that nobody really wanted us to be in.
They'd have to make him an Afghan or a Iraq war guy in order to update it.
Yeah, like damn as Rambo.
He'd do it.
He would just drop of a hat. He'd do it. But it's an interesting one to read up on before you watch it and find out about the kind of movie it could have been with Russell Mulcahy coming right off of Highlander. So think of the qualities and the stylings of that kind of movie in a Stallone film. I think it's quite obvious that they were going to clash, straight away. But yeah, Rambo 3. If we're going to rank them, we'll start right now and we're putting this at the back for both of us.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Still, if it's on TV, give it a watch.
Sure.
Jump forward. Favorite. Was it 20 years? What's the difference between them?
Something
20
like
years,
that,
isn't it?
Yep. This is the one everybody made fun of until they saw it.
Yeah, this is your favorite.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Okay. Yeah, I really like this. It's been a while since I watched it, and I watched it again today. And it's the only one he's actually directed himself.
I like that he went back to kind of where he was comfortable. The country near the country where he fought. Like in that region. Might as well just go back and stay.
Yeah. Yep. This is it's an interesting one because I watched this and in my mind this is where he actually becomes a fully formed Jason character for me.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, it's almost like when you watch this, you're watching Jason as the hero in his movie.
Oh wow!
Because the pleasure he takes in the killing, and the way that they use him as well, or he directs himself. He was saying, because I was watching some of the interview stuff with him, he was saying the original director, they had. This is almost becoming a thing, but still, they had to get rid of the original director, and so he took over. So he didn't want to, so I had to work out how am I going to direct this movie, and he thought, I know, I'll direct it as if Rambo's directing it.
Yeah,
and you can see that. Yeah, you can see that when you watch it. But he does. It's almost like a heroic Jason going around with his machete, just like because this is by and far the goriest.
Oh yeah.
It's CG gore, which usually is really bad, but it actually works really well in this movie.
Oh, nobody forgets the shoot scene near the end of this once they see it. Nobody.
Yeah, because you've got him in the large machine gun mounted on the back of the Jeep.
Because he did that on Rambo 3 as well, and by comparison, it's pathetic.
The thing about Rambo 3 is the action scene you get a wee bit bored of it. It kind of goes on.
Yeah.
Not in this film because
battle fatigue.
The shots are so well composed. The editing is fast, but it's not shaky or anything like that, so you can see what's going on.
Old school filmmaking.
But it's fast editing. It's got a little bit shaky, but it's character based. It's to get something across in a scene.
Yep.
And the effects they're just good enough to be, they work.
Minimal.
Yep, so it's fake, the blood and gore, and in a way that's probably a good thing because there's so much of it.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, because I hadn't actually watched the Blu-ray until today. I had the Blu-ray of it, and my God, this is a gory, nasty film.
Oh yeah, Well, the thing I really love about
As
this is,
Cap
I mean,
says here.
the other two, he was very much the hero, like unwavering, unrelenting. This one, he's like, I'm going to do it, but I don't really expect anything out of it, anything good to come from it, especially since I got to kill a bunch more people.
Yeah, it's got a good cast as well.
White life has weighed down on the character, and you can really feel it in this movie.
Yeah, it's almost like he's just waiting to die.
Mm-hmm.
The
Probably why it
character's
went
waiting
back.
to die. Yeah, it's like he's just waiting to die, and I'll tell you what I like about this. What I like about this is you can see, if you forget, I think you said it earlier, if you take 2 and 3 out of the equation, you can see this as a direct sequel to the first one.
Yep, that's how I like it.
But it has footage of all 3 films when he's having his nightmare.
Yep.
So it's saying, no, these films are all legit. So it's not one of these things where all these films don't exist anymore.
No, it's not. That's just kind of how I prefer to look at it from tone.
Yeah. So
I just like to think those are just past memories from his war experiences and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really good that way. It's not kind of like saying to people, if you like this, great. One thing I don't like about the movie, it's one thing I don't really like. It uses real footage of atrocities at the beginning.
Oh, he was trying to make a point with that. This was like as much a political message as it was a movie.
Yeah. In a way, it's good because he was wanting to get people to understand what was happening in Burma. It is happening in Burma, has been for years.
Yep.
So by you doing that, I suppose it gets people talking about it. I always have a problem with that in movies, though. I always find it uncomfortable, especially in action movies where there's a sense that they are exploitation films. So it's the same. I watched the Spike Lee one, the Five Bloods, and he did the same kind of thing in that. That's a terrible movie, by the way.
I think that's the amos going forward, because the third one was dedicated to the freedom fighters in Afghanistan. Or the
that worked out well, didn't it?
No, not really. So I mean, but
the
at the
timing
time,
was just off there.
Yeah,
we never talked about that because it was meant to show it was meant to be like this is Russia's Vietnam, Afghanistan, and they never changed when they're making the movie, and the good guys became the bad guys and all that kind of stuff, and it was the same in the Living Daylights because they were in the Living Daylights too. Art Malik and his Mujahideen warriors. Yeah,
this one's a little more genuine a movie than the third one was, as far as
this is genuine. Yeah, the bad guy in it, he's really horrible, nasty bad guy in this.
He's a survivor in real life.
Yeah, he's a survivor. He was actually in the Karen rebels from Burma, and he was desperate to do this film. And
they smuggle it in for inspiration for the people still fighting too. I hear about that. It's very illegal there.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird because in the West, where you're kind of like where the film critics are very snooty about all these films and they really don't like them at all, and politically they don't align with their thoughts for the most part. The mainstream critics, it's always been that way, guys.
Oh yeah.
But when it comes to the actual people in these areas and stuff, they're glad films like this get made.
It meant something to those people. This one for sure.
Yeah, but that's my one thing. It's just something that's me. I'm always kind of uncomfortable with it. It's like the shot of the kid in flames in Vietnam and that kind of stuff. Whenever they use that in the movie, probably because the power of a real image, has
a real impact. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It can throw me out of a movie sometimes, but in this case, it's at the very start, and when the movie starts and goes in, when you get to the extreme violence and that, you kind of go, yeah, I'm kind of going with all this.
That's kind of the stuff that the character's seen, though, too.
Yeah,
so you
it seems real.
Why he's miserable.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll do a ranking when we're done. I'm still thinking about my ranking. I know 3's last.
I think for most, although I will say I got to give him a lot of respect for making that movie. It couldn't have been easy to have those explosions riding around on those horses and stuff in like 110-degree weather. No. I mean, the endurance it had to have made just to get that thing finished must have been ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean the whole sequence with them in the horseback and the helicopters and that. There's lots of like really cool epic stuff. It's just there's no kind of heart to it. There's no kind of
right. So I mean, props to him for making that movie. It must have been a hard movie to shoot.
Yeah, totally. This one didn't look. Although I did saw something out when I watched it this time. He spends most of the last action scene behind that big machine gun, just shooting everybody.
Well, yeah, that's
because he's directing it, he's thought to himself, if I do this, then I can. And,
Well, I
and
know.
it's good because the other mercenaries do actually get stuff to do in this.
Oh yeah,
So
they all. He went for realism on this one. I mean, like I know he said in the commentary that they all came on looking like commandos in an action movie, and he was saying, "Get that crap off of these actors. It's going to kill them in this weather."
Yeah.
So that's why they're wearing rags, because you can't function with tons of pouches and vests and like stuff in the weather over in Thailand near there.
Yeah.
In Burma and stuff. And he went and did a ton of research to see what a 50 cal would do to a human body. Then he showed it to veterans and stuff, and they all signed off on it. Yes, that's the effect. The leg is there, the leg is gone.
Yeah.
So the attention to detail in this movie was incredible.
Now, if that sounds like the kind of movie you want to watch, we recommend it. And
there's the guy that loves video nasties.
Well, that's again why I like this. One thing I do like about this, it's got a grungy, it's got a proper grindhouse feel to it at times.
Mm-hmm.
That a lot of these self-aware kind of like, I don't think, what was it, Planet Terror? Is that the one that Rodriguez did? Robert Rodriguez. That didn't feel like a proper grindhouse film to me. That felt like somebody that was just emulating it. This feels like a proper grindhouse film.
Fans of it making a
so this feels properly like that kind of movie, but at the same time, it's got really nice kind of like shots. And it's got a kind of an epic feel to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, kudos. This is probably one of his best as a director, I think, especially action wise.
For sure.
So Rambo or John Rambo, and it could have been the last. I think it was
had a great ending to wrap it up.
Yeah. Now, Dave, I'm going to give you a heads up. We're going to be spoiling the last movie here. You've not seen it, we will have to spoil it to talk about it. So if you don't want it spoiled, you could turn the sound off, and but that way we get the viewing hours, the viewing minutes. But just warning you, we are going to have to spoil it because we're going to dive in right now and talk about it. We're going to spoil it straight away because I'm going to talk about one of the things that annoyed me about it when I first saw it, and why it doesn't annoy me quite as much now. Okay. So, Last Blood.
Yeah, buddy.
I watched the original cinema release this time. The first time I watched the extended version that was on, and I preferred the stripped back 89-minute cinema release.
Is it because it was closer to 90 minutes?
Yeah, it was just a minute off. It's weird because the stuff that they did in the longer version gives you more of a sense of this as a character with PTSD, which is what he is in this.
Yep.
But he didn't need it. And this gets him to Mexico and into the action a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And that's what this film's about. So it's got the pace of the second film, but it's got the kind of like the weight of the first film. So, if you're going to watch it at all, I would say go with the official sort of like producer's cut, because that was Stallone's cut. I think he cut the opening sequence off.
Right.
There's an opening sequence that kind of like goes on for about 5 or 10 minutes or so.
Yep.
And
where he's kind of sitting in the shack.
Yeah.
Just sort of thinking.
Yeah, it doesn't need it. And yeah, I preferred this a lot more this time round. And the other thing the thing that annoyed me about it was, in all the previous movies, he rescues people. And he fails to rescue in this one.
I think that's part more of his realism, where it's like the sex trafficking is really terrible and it doesn't work out great.
Yeah, I got that this time. The first time I was like, it goes for me. It was kind of like Bond failing at the end to kill the bad guy. Because for me, it's always been this kind. No matter how bad things are for the character, he always manages to rescue somebody.
No, he was making a commentary on sex traffickers in this movie.
Yeah, definitely. So again, I think it worked. I understood what he was doing. This film is incredibly violent as well.
Yep.
And it's also, I would say, more over the top and almost comic book like by the end in the violence. But it kind of owns it, and it kind of I enjoyed it a lot more the second time.
Yep.
Than I did the first time round.
I still don't feel like it really feels like a Rambo movie.
Yeah.
I think, but when you really think about it, it's like he had that perfect life for just 5 minutes, and then it got snatched from him, which is a very Rambo situation.
Yeah,
and then he has to go
10 years of a real life. He has,
and then he has to go and deal with the people that took everything from him again. So I mean, that's a very Rambo situation.
Yeah,
which I like.
Yeah, Pete's right here. More like a Bronson movie than a Rambo movie.
I think I wish, because I know Stallone keeps it open, but I really wish he would have just sat down on that porch and died on his farm. You know what I mean? Before he got up and got on the horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that would have been a good end. I mean, like he successfully avenged his daughter, or his quote unquote daughter. Sent the lady away, and then just, my life's done. I fought my last war. Now there's nothing left for me to do. Boom, credits. But it still shows old guys can get it done. So I appreciate that.
No, it felt more, second viewing, it felt more like he was Rambo. It was once you accept the fact that he's kind of like he's that is a brilliant scene, by the way.
I love that scene.
He's pure scary in that. But yeah, it becomes, it's almost like he becomes Rambo again.
Mm-hmm.
But
he left it behind. He had to unearth it. Yeah.
Yeah, but the Rambo that he becomes is the Rambo from the last half of the previous movie. The Jason Rambo.
Right.
Essentially the horror movie Rambo. And it's interesting what it does to it. It has like the underground tunnels that he's built, so it's almost like he's brought Vietnam back with him. I liked all that.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's like not only making it more comfortable for himself, but preparing for anything that's going to happen, if it should happen. For a guy that's a lifelong soldier that's been in all those situations, I could, and probably to deal with his PTSD, give him something to do.
Yeah,
I absolutely like that.
And you've got to give it kudos for the final scene where he kills the bad guy.
Yeah.
Where he says he's going to tear his beating heart out of his body,
mm-hmm.
and he follows through.
Well, I like an action movie. Rip the dude's throat out.
Yeah, an action movie has to be, for me, around about 90 minutes is the best time. And mm-hmm. when a character foreshadows something by saying something, whatever, they need to follow through.
Yep.
So it's like if somebody comes on screen and they've got a really fancy knife that they're playing with, you're like, "Oh, this is going to be cool when he uses that." If they don't get to use that knife,
right,
you feel, "Oh, that's not right."
Which the knife is a character in and of itself in a Rambo movie.
So he gets to use his bow and arrow and his knife and to pull the guy's beating heart out in front of him, mm-hmm. and you're like, "Fair enough."
That's the long hair. He didn't have that. It just kind of felt a little odd not to have a little bit of long hair.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, because he looked more like Rocky.
Yeah.
But again, he's civilized now, isn't he? So
a little bit. Yeah, that's true. Just a rancher.
Yep. Yeah, so.
And it's hot in Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like this one a lot. Like I said, I'd take 4 and 5 over 2 and 3 myself. I think just because the expertise and experience behind the camera and writing.
Yep.
It was a bit like a Dirty Harry movie too. A little bit like Taken.
Yeah, Taken. Yeah, it's definitely got that feel to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, so I'm going to reappraise this film. I was disappointed first time I saw it.
This was supposed to be the story for 4, but they pushed that back.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was the president's daughter, actually, I think.
Well, I saw him giving an interview it was on the disc for the 4th movie I've got, mm-hmm. and he was talking about doing the story with pretty much as it was done.
Yep.
It wasn't the president's daughter, it was the maid's daughter.
Or yeah, something like that. Yep.
Yeah, and he thought it's not a Rambo story, which was interesting because again that's what we're kind of saying here. It's not really a Rambo story, but I suppose he wanted to do something again that was like raised an issue that made it. Yep. He always wants to have a 1 foot in reality and 1
very
foot
time
in fantasy.
Sensitive. Yeah.
which of course all the critics, or not all the critics, but most of the critics ignored.
Oh, they hated this movie.
They hated it.
They branded him a racist for this movie.
Yeah, if you check on, well, you even got on the Wikipedia, you go there and that's mentioned within the first paragraph of talking about the film. But if you go and check your Rotten Tomatoes, I think it's 20-something% by the reviewers and 80-odd% by the viewers.
Oh yeah, fans love this.
Yeah. So again, the critics. I'm going to say something. It used to be that there were about a dozen film critics in the world. You know, when you think about it,
anybody can be a critic now.
Now anybody can be a critic. Anybody that's got a computer and access to the internet can be a critic.
You just have to know
Tomatoes. Yeah, you've got 171 or something, 172 professional critic reviews, and you're like, really?
You just have to know a little something about making the movie before you could comment on it. But now it's just like, I've seen a lot of movies. This sucks.
Yeah, and most movie critics were people who wanted to be writers doing other things, and they're just doing that until they ended up doing something else. So the actual pool of really good movie critics was very small.
I can't think of too many of the big guys that are still around. Is Leonard Maltin still doing his thing, or is he?
Yeah, what did I see him on the other night? He was on at the beginning. Oh, I watched King Creole, and he was on at the beginning of that Blu-ray talking about Elvis.
Siskel and Eastwood are gone.
Yeah.
They
would have hated this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because they hated the Friday 13th movies and stuff like that, and all that kind of violence. They even doxed the actress that was in those movies.
I don't think they would have liked anything Stallone put out, because he does the Expendables. My goodness.
Yeah, but yeah, no, they would have hated it. But yeah, that's so okay. Let's rank them. Let's see if our rankings are the same then. So 3 is last. Let's put that 5th. What comes in after 3?
For me, I probably go from the top: 4, 1, 5, 2, 3.
Right. So 3 is last, and 2 is second last.
Yep.
And then you're putting 1 at the 3 spot.
I think so. No, I'm putting 1 at the 2 spot. So it'd be the 4th one, and then the 1st one, and then this one,
right?
The second, and then the first. That's
right.
Third,
so my ranking is almost exactly the same as yours, but I'm going to put 1 at the top.
Okay, I figured you would.
1, then 4, then 5, then 2, then 3.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
look at that.
If any of you guys, if you're still here, if you want to share what you think the ranking should be, please do. We'll bring it up.
I'd love to see it.
That was actually, imagine that. I thought we were going to get confused there, but no. Yeah. So that's pretty good when you can put like a 1 and a 4 up at the top. You know, from a 5-film franchise. For
sure.
I think.
And this one, it would have probably been higher, except like we'd said, it was a great movie, just not 100% a Rambo movie.
Yeah. Dave ate all the old critics. Yeah, Dave's left it on mute, so that's cool because he doesn't want it spoiled.
All right, let me just get in there and
tell him. Right, so Pete's got 1, 4, 2, 5, and 3.
There we go.
All right, cool. I can go with that. It says depending on the mood. Yeah, okay. Depending on the mood I'm in, I think that's what. Yeah, I could go for that.
That makes sense.
Based on my viewing today, I put 5 above 2, but I don't really like rankings, but we're doing it anyway. As you can tell by a proper ranking shows. Sure.
This is one of those ones I feel pretty confident in, like how many times I watch it and enjoy it. Like I can certainly rank this one. Yeah,
but there's definitely no hit it with the shovels. That's for certain. Definitely not. But yeah, 1, 4, 2, 5, and 3. Yep, definitely go with that. Interesting. Do you think we'll do another one? I mean, riding off on the horse.
He talked about it like if he did another one, it would be something like Rambo fleeing to an Indian reservation. Where the laws don't quite apply the same, and then having a conflict there was his idea. But I don't know that he'll get that. I don't think he'll get that done personally. He's got so many projects. He's got that like channel or that studio that he launched that he's doing. I thought I heard like a Tango and Cash TV show. or something like that.
Oh,
And
no.
Levin Cade, Chuck Dixon's novels, he's adapting those into like a show or something like that.
Right. Okay. That's interesting.
He's got a lot of projects going on. He wanted to do. Oh no, Expendables is done because the comic was going to be like that's the story for the official story. They go to hell and fight dictators.
Is he making another Expendables?
Oh, I thought he was going to do like a TV show or something like that. I can't remember. He might decide to do another movie, but I think his Rambo days are behind
I
him.
tell you what, if Suicide Squad's a hit, I think doing voiceover stuff, I think he'll probably just start doing that.
I'm sure he's got to be. I mean, like he's got a bunch of staples in his neck from the first Expendables, so he's got to be getting like it's difficult to get up.
Yeah. What about the Rocky IV that he's been re-editing?
I'd buy it. I'll be interested. Yeah. I'll be interested to see it. I think I like parts of 5, but yeah. Overall, I'm a fan of the Rocky franchise, especially the last one. Again, Rocky Balboa is my favorite, and then I got to go to the first one. But
yeah, I haven't watched 2 again. I haven't watched that in years. That was one of the lesser ones.
Mm-hmm. But, I can rank that too. That'd be 6, 1, 4, 2, 3, 5.
Right. You just plucking numbers out of thin air.
I got it. Would be the first or the last one because it was such a great way for the character to go.
Did you not include the Creed films as part of Rocky?
I wouldn't include those in Rocky's story.
No.
He's Mickey at that point. That's somebody else's story. He's in there. He's guesting, but he had nothing to do with writing. He had nothing to do with directing. Rocky was Stallone's baby, and that tied up at 6.
Cool.
I think.
What I watched, I would put like 1 and 6 up there at the top, and then 3.
Mm-hmm. Hey woman.
I'm not quite sure about others. I don't think 4's that good. I'll be honest with you.
I think it's iconic.
4's kind of like Rambo 3 with me. It's.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I am interested in a director's cut of that.
Yeah. I think 5 is the Rambo 3. We're gonna have to be honest here. Let's have a street fight.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just that 4 is like it's so 80s. It actually hurts to watch.
Yeah, it does. Those montages. He's got like 2 or 3 of them, and they're painful.
Yeah, I'm sure he has a montage inside a montage at one point. It's like
I think so. I do laugh every time he goes like to Siberia or like to Russia and stuff, and then he comes out to the ring fully tanned after being completely like covered up in the snow for like months or a month or something. That he should have been chalk white. That would have been hilarious.
I know.
With like a tan face from the sun stuff.
I've just realised I've got my ticker tape on the knee. Hey. I've had that in a while. If anybody's new and watching, I don't think there is. If anybody is, I do a comic in Indiegogo. It's called Ales of Dark, and it's mentioned at the bottom there. Blah blah blah.
Absolutely.
And you can find us on Twitter.
Don't blah 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 that.
Blah blah blah. Yeah, I know it's awfully good.
Ales of Dark, Werewolves and Vampires, the complete saga.
Complete saga, full saga.
64 pages of monsters.
I know.
And
drew one today.
Women's.
Drew one today. I'll be sharing stuff with you. We'll be back next Tuesday with Lucifer to talk about The Evil Dead, and then I'm sure you'll drop in.
If I can make it, I certainly will. Yeah.
Make it, yeah. And I'm going to be starting sharing pages as I'm working on them now.
Attaboy.
A rate of notes, kind of. That's us then. We looked at Rambo. That was quite good fun watching all the Rambos again.
Mm-hmm. They have some good replay value to them.
Yeah. In a couple of weeks' time, we're going to go back to Stallone.
I thought we already did that one.
Oh god, yeah, we did that. It was 4 minutes long. I've just deleted it from my. We're doing this in 4 weeks' time. We're going to do Demolition Man.
Love that movie.
Because you'd mentioned when we did Judge Dredd versus Dredd, how it's almost like a prequel to it, or so I thought let's watch, because I quite fancy watching it again. Let's watch Demolition Man, and let's do a show on that, and let's compare it to his Judge Dredd, the kind of things he was working on. So we'll be doing that in a couple of weeks' time. It's don't miss that. But we'll be back next week for a slightly shorter show. We'll be doing EC again, and we're going to be doing the Switch and the Thing from the grave. So
absolutely,
please, join us for that and get them read and watched. You can find both of them if you Google them. You can find both of them to read on various people's websites, so you can read the original stories anyway. And you can probably find them on YouTube or whatever if you don't have the discs. And we'll see you then. So that's Rambo.
Rambos.
Yeah, Rambos.
Yeah.
Everybody, Dave, Damon, Pete, Statistical Zero, everybody that's in there, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you all again. Actually, I will see you on Tuesday night, and Statto might well see you on Tuesday night, and then we'll see you again next Thursday. So take care, guys.
Have a good night, everybody.